Hey, my people. And if you're like, why does she call us her people? It's because anybody that I love, anybody that I care for, I say my people. Like, those my people. I love my people. So sometimes I'm going to call y'all beautiful people. Sometimes I'm going to call y'all loving people. Sometimes I'm going to just call y'all crazy. It just depends on how we vibe in that day. But y'all my people. I'm attracting my tribe, and I know the right people will come. And when you see this, I just want you to know I'm sending nothing but love and positivity, and we're going to chop it up. So listen, today's subject is, are you having sex out of fear? The reason I titled my title the way I did is because there is a difference between effing and having sex. There's a major difference. You should be able to do both. Don't get me wrong. We all have our times where we want to get nasty. That's cool. But when you get to a place where you can't be passionate, you can't be sensual, you can't be into it, then that stems back to something that happened to you in your life. I can only speak on women because I'm a woman, and I'm not sure how to heal as far as men goes because I'm not a man. I haven't been sexually traumatized as a man, so I can't speak on that. I can only speak on women. A lot of us have been sexually traumatized at a very young age. And if it wasn't at a young age and it came later, that's okay too. It's still valid. We have been sexually traumatized, and it carries into other areas of our life, whether we think so or not. We have unexpressed sexual trauma. There's a difference from just sexual trauma and unexpressed sexual trauma. You might have went through something that you got counseling for and help for, and you're good, and you can openly express it, and you can identify what it is when it comes up. But then there comes unexpressed sexual trauma, which you've just brushed it off. You've told a couple people, you know what happened, but you haven't really dealt with it or really even expressed it to yourself and accepted what happened to you or healed from it, Dealing with unexpressed sexual trauma carries on into your relationships. You could be thinking you're ready to have sex and you're into it, you're getting into the mood or whatever, and then you start, and in the middle of it you feel crazy and you don't even know why you feel crazy. You don't even know why you're feeling the way you feel, but you just know you feel it. And instead of stopping in that moment and acknowledging your feelings, you keep going for the sake of the other person, and then you end up feeling crazy as hell at the end. And you're left with that feeling because it was unaddressed and unexpressed. If you have a partner, let's say you have a boyfriend, communication is key when you're dealing with those type of emotions. Communication is key. And what I mean by this is, if you express how you're feeling or what you have been through or what has triggered you in that moment, it's easier for a person to accept that and be patient with you. But if you're not expressing that and you're just having all these mood swings up and down, and it's like you want to have sex, but then you don't want to have sex, but then you're taking it out on your partner or you're taking it out on the person that you're sexually involved with, it becomes draining. Let's say that. And I know this because I have experienced this. I'm in a relationship, and when we first started dating, I had sexual trauma on me, but I was in a place where I was super lost, and I really didn't even realize how much my sexual trauma was affecting me. I was wilding out. Let me say that, I was wilding out. And I finally got with the person who slowed my entire world down. And I don't mean as far as like, oh, you have a boyfriend and you just don't go out no more. Like, I got closer to God. I started caring more about my spirit, about my energy, and so did he. Like, we slowed each other's worlds down to where we started going inside and recognizing things that we never even paid attention to. So, a couple situations happened when, we were getting sexually involved with each other, and I was into it, but I wasn't there. And it's like I wanted to. I was into it at one point, but then it would get to certain positions and certain things, and it's like, now I'm blanked out. Now I'm feeling like I have to take my mind to a super sick place in order for me to even do this and please you, because I'm not there. I just blinked out. I feel some type of way, but I don't want to say anything. I don't want to ruin your experience, and I'm not entirely sure what is wrong. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I be into this or be connected with him in this way? Like, what's wrong with me? You start to question yourself. So I had a couple situations come up like that with him. And one day, he was ready and I wasn't ready. I was in one of those moods where I wanted to talk and, vibe and do this and do that. And he was ready to go, and not anything. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of men, they express their emotions and how they feel sexually. They tell you they love you sexually. They tell you they miss you sexually. That's just how it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's been times like, where he's on the vibe where he want to talk and I'm like, well, let's go. Like, it's a balance. But this particular day, I wasn't on go. He was on go. I was ready to talk. And, he kept giving me the hints and the signs and, and I just went with it instead. Instead of saying like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I just went with it because in my heart, I felt like I couldn't say no. And not because of him. He's never made me feel like that. But because that's how I'm used to operating when it comes to sex. I'm used to being like, oh, I just have to, sexual trauma. So I didn't say no and I went with it anyways. And afterwards, I was just like, I'm tired. My whole mood changed. My whole attitude changed. And I was just like, I'm sleepy. And he ended up leaving. And after he left, I called him and I was like, you know what? I apologize because I should have expressed what was wrong with me in that moment instead of ruining our whole entire vibe. You thought, we was vibing and everything was good because I didn't say anything. I didn't tell you what was going on. I was unexpressive and I just went with it. But you feel, one thing about it, people feel your energy, especially someone who is actively paying attention to you. They feel your energy. So even though you're not saying anything, they feel that something's off with you. So when I called him and apologized, he was like, yeah, I knew something was wrong with you when I left. It was just like, I was just waiting for you to say something, because me, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait till I say something because I might not know what to say. I might not even know how I feel in that moment, so I need time. So he gives me my time. So I called him and apologized and I was just like, I wasn't ready. And instead of me saying I wasn't ready, I just went with it because it's like, you deserve to be, catered to in that way as well, just like you catered to me. And, so we started talking and then he asked me a question that I never even thought of. And he was like, do you feel like because of what has happened to you in your past that you're unable to say no? Like, do you feel like you can't say no? And I was like, yeah, I do feel like that. And I never really knew that I felt like that. But yeah, I do feel like that. And that's what I mean by a lot of your sexual trauma will drain into the other parts of your life. It will flow into the other parts of your life and you won't even know it is. After me realizing that, I was like, wow. I've been through a lot of situations in my life at a young age to where I was sexually taken advantage of. And even after those situations were over and I got older, I put myself in positions to where I could be sexually traumatized even further. And a lot of us don't realize that we're doing that. We just think, we're young and we're just doing this and we're just having sex and this, that, and the third. But you go have that one night stand with somebody and you don't even really want to. You don't even really want to. You just drunk, high, having fun. You did it. And now when you go home, you're feeling so crazy about yourself because you just got fucked in the back of a car. You just allowed somebody to violate you. And not violate you as far as they raped you. Just violated your emotions. You allow somebody to violate your worth. Because of your sexual trauma. You feel like that's okay. So sometimes it's not even so much about the other person. It's more so about you. You can be putting yourself through a sexually traumatic situation without even knowing that you are. Because after you're finished, you feel even lower than you did going into it, to be honest. A lot of the times when, I was partying and, dating and things of that nature, I was not comfortable with saying no, and I was putting myself in situations to where people see you. Like, let's keep it clear. Let's keep it real. People can see your insecurities, even when you think they can't. You think you're the only person that knows that you feel worthless. You think that you're the only person that knows that you're insecure. People see that as soon as you're coming, and some people will take advantage of that. So I was putting myself in situations to be sexually traumatized. For instance, when I first moved to Atlanta, I wanted to model. I was on my hustle. I was trying to figure out what my hustle was and what I wanted to do entrepreneur wise, because I always knew I wanted to own a business. I always knew I wanted to be a boss. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was like, okay, I'm a model. So I found a manager, and he managed, a lot of other girls, and he had a lot of followers on Instagram and all this stuff going on. So I started working with him, and the models weren't really making that much money. And disclaimer about not even just Atlanta, do your research on a person and pay attention to the red flags before you continue to do business with people. Because people will put on a facade. They will put on a facade, and because you're desperate to be in that industry, and you're desperate to make money, and you're desperate to get on, it's like, oh, okay, like, that did seem a little weird, but it's cool. I'm still gonna give it a chance. And then you end up in a messed up situation. So, he had a lot going on. He was managing a lot of other girls, but models weren't making that much money. So he had bottle girls, and he also had strippers. So I was like, okay, like I'll try to dance. I had tried dancing a couple of times. It really wasn't my thing. I'm not a dancer. I tried to be a dancer. I tried to be a city girl. I tried to live that lifestyle. It's really not in me. I like being exclusive. I like being a goddess. Like, I like being firm on who I am and just being a real woman, and not saying that if you out there you're not a real woman. I just like being exclusive. I don't even have to go deep into it. I just want to be exclusive. I don't want to be for everybody. I used to think that was cool. It's not. It looked crazy and it feels crazier. So I was like, yeah, I want to dance. They making a lot of money from dancing. Let me dance. So I hit him up, and I was like, hey, modeling, I'm not really interested in anymore. The money's not really coming in how I wanted to. So can I audition to dance? And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna set you up an audition, etc., etc. And he gave me the details. So probably like a week later, I met up with him at his business partner's house in Lithonia, and it was like this huge mansion I pulled up to. So I'm like, okay, like this is about to work out for me. I'm about to get some money. So I had my dance outfit, all of that. Met them at the house, and we went upstairs to the movie theater room. So he introduced me to his business partner. He was like, he does this, he owns this club, and et cetera, et cetera. So what you're gonna do is change into your dance outfit, and then you're gonna come out here and you're gonna audition. With you auditioning, your audition is basically going to be, you're going to act as if we're inside of his club. Mind you, I should have thought, if I'm auditioning to be a stripper, shouldn't I be in your club and not your house? Should have been my first thought. But when you moving out of desperation, you tend to overlook a lot of things and not think about them until after you're out the situation. So don't move out of desperation. You have all that you need. But changes in my clothes. This is back when I smoked, so I smoked a blunt, and mind you, nobody else is smoking, just me. They gave me my own personal blunt. Smoked, got my nerves off, and the audition's about to start, so they turned some music on to the big screen, and there's a music video playing, and his business partner, my manager's business partner, I'm trying not to get no names. I ain't trying to get no names. His business partner was like, okay, so what you gonna do is act like I'm a client. He started explaining the rundown of what a client does and how a stripper attracts the client and what they have to do to get that money and keep getting them to come back. So I'm like, okay, cool. Soon as I start to talk to him and get into character, my manager get a phone call. And he walk out, leave me. Mind you, I don't know this man. I barely know the manager, but at least I've been around him and done business with him before. I've never been around this man. So he leave me. I'm nervous, a little scared, but I'm just like, okay, like, I really want this job, so let me just keep dancing and act cool or whatever. So, I keep dancing, and mind you, I'm not even really dancing. I'm really talking, but I'm moving a little bit because I'm really scared to dance. I'm not a stripper. So he's like, okay, like, turn around, you can sit on my lap, you can do this, giving me the rundown. So I'm just like, okay, like, and I'm doing that. So he was like, mind you, the seats are like this, and the screens in the movie theater is like right here. So he's sitting down, and I was standing on like the side right here because it's like I really didn't want to touch him. I was really nervous. Like, please just give me the stripper job, and I'm just gonna make thousands of dollars without having to really dance. That's in my head, stupid. So he's like, all right, come here, like, and turn like this, face the screen. I want you to dance on me. I want you to sit on my lap. I want you to do this. So I'm just like, okay. And we start going through the motions. So mind you, I had got off his lap and I stood up against the I was leaning against the movie theater seat, and I was just light twerk, y'all, dancing. I had on a thong bodysuit. It was a high cut thong bodysuit. So you can feel when you skin to skin, you can feel what's on you. So he gets up from his seat, he grabbing my hips and stuff, and then he presses up against me, but I don't feel no pants. This man has now taken his pants off and his boxers. Like, I feel him. No pants. So I do the quick turnaround, and he was like, nah, it was gonna fit just right. And I just paused, like, I had never been in no situation like this. So I'm just like, and when I get nervous, and this is another thing, when you get nervous and somebody is trying to violate you, don't laugh. Don't laugh. Don't giggle. That shit not funny. Like, you have to be firm and stand in your firm. It's like, nah, I ain't on that. And you have to know that you good. Like, you have to tap into your power and know that I'm not on that. And I'm going to be straight if I walk up out of here. You have to give people that energy so they know not to play with you. But at this time, I didn't know this. So, I'm giggling and laughing like, nah, I'm good. Da-da-da. And he's like, nah, da-da-da. It ended up leading to me sleeping with him. I'm like, all right, like, okay, I'm just about to sleep with this man because my manager gone out this room. I'm by myself. We in this big ass house, and there was nobody in that house, bro. It was nobody in that house but me and them two. And my manager's not in this room. So I'm like, all right, it's not something that I haven't done before. I'm finna just do this and get on out of here. So in the middle of it, and this is how y'all have to pay attention to red flags. You have to pay attention to how you're stepping out and carrying yourself, because people see your insecurities. They see how to play with you. Some people are analyzing and studying you just so they can play with you. Soon as we started, my manager walked back in the room. Soon as we started. And he walked up the steps and walked behind us and was like, oh yeah, I want some of that too. That's the type of dance I want. I ended up sleeping with him too. I ain't even going into details. I ended up sleeping with him too. Got it over with. And got the fuck on. Did what I did and got the fuck on. Left. Blocked him. Before I blocked him, I texted him and I said, I can no longer do business with you. Like, I feel crazy right now. I'm really disappointed in myself that I even just allowed that to happen, but I was scared. Like, I didn't know what to do. I'd never been in that type of situation, and I really just felt like I couldn't say no. And he was like, we all grown. People don't give a fuck about you. Once they get what they want from you, they don't give a fuck how you feel. So don't put yourself in situations to where you're feeling crazy and they don't give a fuck. You are responsible for your emotions and your feelings and how you move when you step out. You're not responsible for how nobody else react or how nobody else feel. So what I should have did was said, nah, I ain't with this. I want to dance, but I don't want to dance that goddamn bad. And I should have left, not caring about what would have happened. If they would have tried to snatch me up or rape me, we was going to be in there then. It was going to have to be that. You have to step out with that energy because people will take advantage of you just like they took advantage of me. Had me feeling crazy, had me pull over to a gas station crying and sad and fucked up because I just allowed myself to just do something that crazy. That wasn't me. I barely was even a stripper. Okay, like that wasn't me neither. I was just desperate. So you can't operate out of desperation. But the point of me saying that is you will put yourself in sexually traumatic situations when you're operating out of desperation. And not even just desperation. Like, you might just want a friend, or you just want to chill with somebody. So you go chill with somebody you don't really know, and now they rubbing up on you, touching you, and you don't even know where you at, who house you in. And now you like, okay, let me just go ahead and get this over with, because this nigga weird. Let me just go ahead. I'm going to block him after I'm done. I ain't even going to really do too much or give him a full experience. I'm just going to give him something so I can get the fuck on. A lot of us do that. A lot of us do that because we be scared and we have been sexually violated before. So it's like, okay, so I don't really get raped or killed or something crazy happened. Let me just go ahead and give it up and get it over with so I can get up out of here. And you never end up talking to those people again because they was pressing you for some pussy. And you was forced to give it up. And not even saying, I'm not even going to say was forced, because it's a difference between actually being forced to give it up and just feeling like you can't say no. I understand it's scary being in a situation where somebody's really trying you up, and you've been in a situation to where you're scared to say no, where you're scared to take your power back in that moment and just walk out because you don't know the outcome. You don't know what's going to happen to you. And the enemy will play with you on your fear. The enemy, now you thinking about scenarios where this nigga might tie you up, put you in a trunk. You thinking about that one story you seen on Instagram, and you know this shit ain't finna happen. You already know if you really was to just, yo, I'm not on that, and get up out of there, then that's what it would be, because you know you got power. But you, now the enemy playing with you and making you fearful because you don't know how to say no. You don't know how to operate in your power. So I said all that to say, a lot of us put ourselves in sexually traumatic situations, and it damages us even more. Even more. I felt so worthless. I was at a point in my life where I felt so worthless. I just thought, you know what, it doesn't matter. Like, hey, if they want it, I'm gonna give it to them, because at this point, it don't matter. That's all I'm good for. It was a point in my time where I felt like all I was good for was sex. I didn't feel like I was good for anything else, because of not only the situations that I've been through when I was young and it was out of my control, but also because of the situations that I put myself in that were in my control. It just made me feel worthless. If you're with somebody or having sex with somebody who gonna get mad if you don't want to, or get mad because you're not in the mood, or get mad because you want to stop in the middle and you sad, or a feeling has came over you, that's not who you need to be sleeping with. That ain't who you need to be sleeping with. Go ahead and let them go, because that's adding to your sexual trauma. Sometimes putting yourself through more sexual trauma isn't even just about putting yourself in a situation where you go over somebody's house or whatever. It might be who you sleeping with. It might be your boyfriend. You getting sexually traumatized every damn day because he don't understand no. Because you feel like you can't even have a day where you off. You in a sexually traumatic relationship. You used to just giving it up and not saying no and just going with the flow because you feel worthless and you feel like that's all you're good for. Take your power back. Take your power back. You're not worthless. That's not all you good for. It's a man out there who will be patient with you, who will be kind to you, who will understand you, and who will support you. Man, Alexis Scott was doing a challenge where, I don't know if it was a month or what, it was a certain amount of time where she wasn't having sex, she was eating right, whatever. And even if she didn't do these things, I was intrigued by the fact that she was doing that, and she started a challenge like that. So I was like, okay, I want to try it. And I presented it to my boyfriend. I was like, I don't want to have sex for a month, I don't want to do this for a month, blah blah blah. And he was with it, fully supportive. Of course, after the month, he was like, man, I want to beat Alexis Scott ass. Like, of course, but he was supportive through it. We made jokes after, but he was supportive through it. So the person who is for you and supposed to support you, the person who's going to stop your world and make you feel so beautiful, is out there. But you first have to let go of the sexually traumatic people you have in your life, because it's not always situations. Like, if you are dealing with somebody who is not affirming you and making you feel better when you are feeling down and you're feeling worthless and you're going back to the old you who just allowed anything to happen, then that's not the person you need to be with. That's sexually traumatic. You need to start calling people sexually traumatic. You sexually traumatic. I can't be around you. You make me feel worthless. I don't fuck with that. Ill. Even though I'm in a relationship, I'm still also single. And what I mean by that is not single as far as I'm out here messing with other dudes and blah, blah. No, I'm single within myself. I'm dating me. I'm getting to know myself. And if I'm going through something to where it's like, okay, listen, I can't give you this right now, I'm single in that area. Same with him. There's areas in his life where he's single right now because he's getting to know himself on levels that he doesn't really know himself. So even though you're in a relationship, you're still single. You're still single. Don't think because you're in a relationship, you literally have to change everything about yourself to complement the other person. That's not a true relationship. That's not a true relationship. That's ownership. You're giving somebody ownership of you because everything they say, everything you think they want, everything that you see they're attracted to, you change so that they can like you. You trying to please your master? You moving in relationships like you a slave or something? That's not how you should be in a relationship. So if you're in that area of your life to where you don't even know yourself enough to stand firm on your standards, your boundaries, and what you want and what you're going through, then you need to stop being a slave. Okay, we not slaves around here. We not slaves around here. So if you're trying to be with a master, you need to let that go and master yourself first so that nobody else can change who you are. Nobody else can change the core of you. Not saying that you're not going to grow or elevate, because at the end of the day, we're all students willing to learn, even when we are teachers. Not saying you're not willing to grow, but just saying that you're not changing the core of who you are to please somebody else. You're not a slave. So if you're in a slave master type relationship and this don't have nothing to do with color, it's about emotion, it's about spirit, getting on out of there. You ain't no slave. That shit over with. It's over with. It's over with. We not doing that. Get on out of there. Listen, I end off each podcast episode with an affirmation. Today's affirmation is, I am not in control of anybody else's feelings but my own. I cannot control the outcome. You are only in control of you. You are only in control of your feelings. You cannot control how nobody else feel, and you cannot control how anybody else responds to how you feel. You allowed to feel how you feel. Don't project it on people or go out here just acting crazy because you feel some type of way, you upset. No. You are entitled to how you feel, and nobody else should be able to talk you down from it or make you feel any other type of way, because those are your feelings. And you're not in control of how people respond to your feelings. You're only in control of how you feel. That's it. So yeah, I'll see y'all later next episode. I hope you guys come back. Y'all are my people. I love my people, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. And I pray this brought clarity to your life. And if it didn't bring clarity, I sure hope it brought you confirmation. You are worthy. Move like it, act like it, speak like it, and things gonna shift for you. Don't settle. You're not stagnant. Okay? You are the room when you step in it. You're not in the room. You are the room. Period. The energy change when you step in. So make sure it's changing in a healthy, positive, and high vibrational way. You in control. Claim your power back.